Hold up. Every day I wake up.
Wake your ass up.
The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Loren LoRosa is here as well. We got a special guest in the building. We have Havoc here. Havoc, what's up, brother?
What's going on?
How you feeling?
Real good, real good.
Havoc from Mobb Deep, of course. New album, Infinite, out on this Friday.
That's right.
So many questions. So let's start off with first, how did you put this album together?
Oh man, it was a long time in the making because after the untimely death of Prodigy, you know what I mean. It was something that I wanted to do, but it took me a minute because the family was in the grieving process. But to make a long story short, linked up with ALC, Alchemist, and we knew we had to start. You know what I mean? Start the album. So flew out there. I had a couple of songs already. You know what I'm saying? Some verses from Prodigy's family, and Alchemist had a ton of verses already, so we just started putting it together and just breaking it down.
How did you?
Okay.
I was going to ask, how did you pick which verses, like when you're going through Prodigy, verses that we've never heard?
Right.
How you pick which ones? Because we were anticipating hearing it.
Right. I mean, it was kind of hard because to me, you know what I'm saying, all Prodigy verses is dope. You know what I mean? So it was hard. I mean, because we ended up with 25 songs, and ended up with 15. But I don't know, just the best ones, out of Prodigy's verses, if I could pick, it was really hard, though.
Now, were any of these songs done already from y'all already, or these were all you had to get every new verses from, whether his daughter, I see his daughter
Right.
raps, or his family,
Right.
or Alchemist?
I mean, I thought that I was getting, most of the verses was unheard verses, but one of them was released 14 years ago. So, you know what I'm saying, we wiped the dust off and, rocked with the songs or whatever. But most of them is just verses that nobody never heard before, especially, some that Al has, it's crazy verses, for real. But, I was giving some verses from the family, and I just, technology, you could just take a verse, if it's 92 BPMs, you could put it down to 88, or you could speed it up to 100, so it's kind of seamless.
Mm-hmm. How was the family with doing this? Did the family want a new Mobb Deep album out? Were they cool with it, or they were
They was cool with it. But they just wanted to make sure that they was part of the process and that they wasn't left out. So, the first time that we started working on the album, we had Prodigy's daughter there, you know what I'm saying, and getting her blessings. And she was kind of got a little emotional when she was hearing her father, you know what I'm saying, as me and Al was getting emotional listening to Prodigy talk, a cappella talk about, yo, I see you on the other side, and, I love you. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And what was your relationship with before he passed?
It was actually, I feel like I got my friend back. You know what I mean? Because right before he passed, real talk, we was shopping at Whole Foods, trying to get on a healthy path. Mm-hmm. And he, after we did that, he knocked on my hotel door. He never comes to my room. Came to my room, and we was just kicking it, just trying to go down a healthy journey. Because, we had a little dust up before that.
What was that dust up for? Because I always would say, Mobb Deep is that one crew.
Right.
I'm them, they'll never,
Right.
they just so from the same area. They didn't been through beefs and this and that and problems with money. They didn't been through it all. So I figured y'all were that one group that was nah. But y'all had a little situation at one point.
I just say this, when it comes to alcohol, just stay away from social media. You know what I'm saying? Just leave that alone. Some things, brothers go through things, but that's supposed to be behind the scenes. You feel me? So it was just built up frustration and me taking to social media. I wasn't taught to go to social media and air out my differences. So that's something that I did. And Prodigy kept it real classy, with it. He was, A-class general with it. He didn't even engage in that little dust up. But, it was a little strain on the relationship. We broke up for a year. Then we came back together, toured. And then slowly but surely just kept building that brotherhood back.
And after that breakup, how did y'all get back together? What was that conversation? Who reached out first, or who put y'all together?
Because we both got friends in common, right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't yo, okay, today y'all gonna meet up. It was that gradual, and then we just end up in the studio together. You know what I'm saying? And it was nothing ever happened, right? The beat is up, and we just yeah, you know what I'm saying? So we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. And you know what I mean? But we did get a chance to kind of talk. I knew him since I was 15. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that was my brother for real. You know what I'm saying? And it was just crazy when he passed. how close we was getting before that.
And y'all were in Vegas when he passed, right?
Yeah, we was in Vegas. We had just did one of those shows. I think Ice-T be throwing those tours with a lot of the old school artists or whatever. Nori was there, Raekwon and Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't feeling well. And, I just thought it was just like one of those regular sickle cell crises, and he'll, be back home in New York.
Damn.
Yeah.
Is there, because I know that this is, you working with Master Pill to drop this.
Yeah.
Is there anything just because this is also, people are looking at this as like a comeback project or like a return project, but it's also a tribute as well.
Right.
Is there anything when people are listening to the music from Prodigy that we haven't heard, like when you were putting together and producing all of this, like what was the message you wanted his fans to get from him in hearing him again?
Well, I don't think that it was so much of me like wanting a message to be put out there about Prodigy. The fans know what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm constantly getting harassed by the fans. Like, yo, when you putting out that Mobb Deep album? I mean, look, I don't got no control over that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't own Prodigy Versus, so it was a process. You know what I mean? But I hope that the supporters get from it. Like, yo, P was one of the illest MCs out there, and I think that he has some unfinished business.
What was the pressure like for you, if any? Because this has been since 2014 since you dropped a project.
Yeah, the pressure was crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because, of course, the music landscape been changed,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, on Mobb Deep, but we stay in our lane, you know what I mean? And I just kind of like, that's all I wanted to do is just stay in our lane, not try to go above and beyond and trying to sound like I'm doing some drill music or something like that, you know what I mean? I just wanted to stay Mobb Deep.
Mm-hmm. Now, you did this deal with Nas's Master Pill, she just mentioned.
Yeah.
How involved was Nas with this project, and why did y'all decide to sign with the Nas and do the collaboration with Master Pill?
Nas kind of like took the hands-off approach, you know what I mean? We trusted Nas, you know what I mean? We know him, of course, obviously, since the beginning, you know what I mean, from the top. And he in position right now, you know what I mean? So tons of people would have did the Mobb Deep album, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it was like, who do we trust? I trust Nas, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, he over there at Master Pill, we sat with them. And it wasn't about the money, it's just more like who would do justice to the project, you know what I mean? And we trusted Nas for that. And, he took a hands-off approach, but when it was time to, give a little bit of critique, he gave it.
He did 2 verses on it as well.
3.
He did 3 verses on it.
Yeah, I mean, 3 verses for Nas. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think that's a good way to go out, you know what I mean, on the Mobb Deep album. That was cool, featuring her, Georgia Smith, do 2 phenomenal artists, and Porter Henny.
Yeah. Clips as well as on the album as well.
Hell yeah.
I wanted to, I see a lot of your stories have been going viral the last couple of days, right? Of course, the Pac stories always go viral. The Jay-Z stories go viral. But the mind frame back then, when you felt like the West Coast was taking a stab at the East, right? And y'all said, nah, this can't happen. Break that down, because y'all were probably one of the first to jump out the window and be like, we riding all day long. And how difficult was it when y'all were touring and going to these markets and seeing these people? And did you ever run into any of the people that you shot at on record, I should say?
Yo, check it out. Like, when you in places like Minneapolis and you see people throwing up gang signs and holding up Tupac posters, you don't even know if you're going to make it out of there. You understand what I'm saying? So that's that. You know what I mean? Never mind going to the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? But back in those days, we was in our 20s. You know what I'm saying? We invincible. We like, what? We got beef? It's on. I'm surprised more artists in New York didn't come out swinging. You understand what I'm saying? This is NYC. And yeah, we love our West Coast brethren for sure. But we going to let you know, if you clap at us, we going to clap back. You know what I'm saying? A couple of artists represented New York, but not in the way where we like, yo, y'all kicking down the buildings? Like, nah. You know what I'm saying? We not letting you do that. But it was a test. You know what I'm saying? Because it was serious back then. People was getting shot and things of that nature. But we came out. We survived it.
And y'all never ran into anybody on the West Coast? Y'all never ran into a Pac back in the day? Nobody?
Nah, and it's not like we was hiding. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we was in L.A. We had to be in L.A., to promote the project. But he passed. Like when the beef was about to be on, we came out with a project we was about to, Hell on Earth. And he got shot. You know what I'm saying? That kind of just made everything like.
And y'all even switched singles, because they said the single was L.A. Right. He got killed or shot. Right.
Because it was Drop a Gem on him.
Drop a Gem on him.
It was Drop a Gem on him. We put that out, and it was going on fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hot 97, pardon for saying another
No,
station, but I'm just saying.
No, this history.
Yeah, so it was going viral, so to speak, for back then. You know what I mean? But then he got shot, and it's like, yo, son, let's pull the record. Like me and Pete, like, yo, let's pull it. Not even the label saying that, and we pulled the record, and then eventually he definitely passed away. So it was like, damn. But we put it on the album.
Mm-hmm.
And pulling the record, I mean, I know it's common sense to be like, okay, you're pulling it because now things are like so serious. But in that moment when y'all made that decision, the conversations, like I think a lot of people hear these stories too, and it just sounds like, it's like kind of like almost like a folktale to us. But you were like in that moment, like what's the feeling of like, is it, okay, we want to pull it because we just don't even want to be involved in this anymore, even though you're already there? Or is it like out of respect? Like what's the real...
Like for real, the
real like
question?
why pull it? Because at that point, y'all are already like, we here, we doing this, like we poking out our chest.
Look, at the end of the day, he was a brother. He was our brother. Like we might have beef with him and all of that, but we don't wish death on nobody. You understand what I'm saying? And we not that thirsty, like to be like, whatever he did, like keep it moving. Like that would have been bad taste anyway. You know what I'm saying? It would have been tasteless. So we just was like, nah, just pull it. You know what I mean?
You know, your relationship with Big was not the best.
What you mean? Like,
was it good? Because I thought the relationship wasn't necessarily the greatest. You and B.I.G.
Oh, for real? Me and B.I.G. We got the same birthday.
Oh, I didn't know that. Did y'all ever have conversations to say, because y'all were both getting shot at like crazy? Did y'all ever have conversations like, let's do this together?
Right. Now, unfortunately, that's another one that passed away so early. You understand what I'm saying? Because, you know, Puff said, yo, come to the studio. I need you to do some music with Big. I didn't even know the Locks going to be on the song Last Days. So I'm in there doing that. He in another room because I guess he was recording like crazy back then. You know what I mean? So we never got a chance to really have a conversation. We went on tour together. You know what I'm saying? The last memories I have of Big is being in Ohio, and we supposed to go on, but Big was like, F that. I'm going on before y'all because they spraying mace in the crowd. Like, you know, like the gang members is wild. I didn't even know Ohio had gangs like that. But those are the memories I have with him. So we didn't get a chance to like really kick it. But I think had he lived longer, we'd have probably been partying together. You know what I'm saying? Same birthday, Gemini twin.
How did watching, you know, the death of Tupac and then of Biggie change how you felt about just being an artist at the time? Like, were you scared?
But did it change? Because y'all ain't stopped beefing. Y'all kept going. Y'all never stopped.
Nah, you know what? To be honest with you, it was like, I felt it was mad disrespectful. You understand what I'm saying? For like, it's like no, like you just killing artists. Like y'all just, you know what I'm saying? I understand, you know what I'm saying? Artists is human beings, but it's like no respect for the artist. Like y'all just murking the artist. So that had me super concerned. Like, you know, I'm like, wow, like it's, you know, you already got your concerns when you going on tour and making sure you safe. But now just people just get out of here, like bye, you gone. Nah, that was crazy.
You know what I always wanted to ask? I always tell everybody if we have a hip hop conversation, my favorite beat ever, and I think I told you before, is Shook Ones, right? It's just when you think of hip hop, there's nothing that out hip hop Shook Ones. Just the raw, just uncut. It doesn't sound like it's ever filtered. Just doesn't feel like it's never mixed, and it just feels like that. But I also feel like when a lot of times when they talk about some of the greatest producers in this industry and in the game, they don't mention you.
Right.
How does that make you feel? Because they'll mention the Dre's, they'll mention so many other people, but a lot of times I don't hear Havoc.
I mean, you know, it could get frustrating. You know what I'm saying? It get frustrating, you know, when your name is not being mentioned, when you feel like it should be mentioned. But at the same time, we never got nominated for Grammys, and I'm sure we had albums that was platinum and gold during the time when other artists were platinum and gold, and that, you know, and we never got nominated. So I just feel like it's in the same vein. But you know what? My peers, you know what I'm saying? When I see them, like I just seen Dr. Dre the other day, he like, yo, you inspired me. And I'm looking at him like, what, nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you inspired me. But I feel him. I understand what he's saying because we all inspire each other. So things like that kind of negate the frustration I feel of not being mentioned, because I can see somebody like Dr. Dre and they be like, yo, son, like, you know what I mean? And that's all I be needing.
That's all you need.
That's
Same
it.
thing with Prodigy with lyrics, though. I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand how nice he was lyrically. And he doesn't get into a lot of those conversations as well either.
He don't, but then you have somebody like Jay-Z, if you ask him a question about Prodigy, he'd be like, Prodigy was one of those ones. You understand what I'm saying? So when people don't involve them in the conversation, but they rapper's favorite rapper is screaming their name, like not screaming their name, but giving them the credit. I think sometimes that's the just do sometimes. And then eventually the generations that's gonna come after us, when they start doing their little investigation, like we used to do with the, maybe not y'all because they're a little younger, but you know, with the 70s, like we pulling like James Brown, we pulling all these stylistic Blue Magic. They're going to start pulling those Mobb Deep records and be like, damn, what's this? This sounded crazier than all that other stuff that's supposed to be top 40. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how, you mentioned Jay. How did that beef ever start? And do you ever regret never producing for Hov? Is that one of the things you said?
Off top, of course. You know what I'm saying? As a producer, you want to produce for the best of them.
Because you produce for every New York great, but
right,
that one.
Right. That's the one I'm chasing. You know what I mean? But shout out to Hov. But look, when that beef happened, I had to stand with my brother.
How did it start?
Oh, it started because back to what we was talking about with the Snoop and them.
So ever since Snoop came through and crushed the
builders, and then we came with LA, and then I think Prodigy seen an article with matter of fact, I think Jay-Z said something in his line about New York been soft since he didn't appreciate it, and then he said something in a magazine and called Hov out his name. Hov is this is a contact sport. He, you know what I'm saying, he in his prime, he going right back at Prodigy. So it just started right there. Right.
Do you feel like that beef hurt Mobb Deep?
I'm not gonna say that it hurt Mobb Deep, but it could have did a little nice little delay. You know what I mean? Because when you got somebody like that just coming at you, you know what I'm saying, it's like it starts chipping away at that armor.
I always wanted to know what Nas said during that time when y'all, because y'all were all beefing together.
Right.
Did Nas ever say, yo, let's do this together? Like, what was that conversation like?
Nah, he was on his lone wolf real quick. You know what I mean? He came out with that ether. It was like, you know what I mean? Nobody saw it coming. You know what I mean? We never ever had a conversation about like, yo, yeah, man, let's go get him.
Let's
like,
jump him. Let's jump him. Nah, that was never the conversation.
What myths about Mobb Deep do you hear and you don't correct, or you hear and you kind of laugh at? I know there's the one with the hi-hat sound and like the burner, and I'm still kind of confused about that. Was it a real burner or was it not? I saw two different answers at one point in time, but there's a lot of myths out there about you guys that you sometimes you say are better than the actual story, so you just let it rock.
I mean, the one that you just said with the stove, like, you know what I mean? Everybody keeps saying like, it's the stove. I'm not going to tell them if it's the stove or not. I just love the mystique of the stove. It's like, that's a dope
break down
story.
the stove because people are like, what the hell y'all talking about? So
in Shook One's part 2, there's the flicking sound, and it sounds like you know how you crank up the stove and it's like click, click, click.
Yeah, click, click,
yeah,
click,
so
click, click.
At one point I thought I saw an interview from you and you said that it was a stove and you recorded it. I think that was Drink Champs, and then I saw another interview where you were like, it was a hi-hat that you used. Right.
Yeah. I be messing with them. You know what I'm saying? I just be messing with them. Like I'm never going to reveal that one.
Why?
Cause it's just the it sounds better. Than the actual truth. So
touche. And I know you guys got the comic book series that kind of leans into all of the myths about Mobb Deep. It's you guys, Slick Rick, Ghostface, Nas. It's like a one-time only series. So are y'all talking about more of the myths in that limited comic book series, or is it just something that they're putting together?
When they was making it, they was asking me like, what you think your strengths would be if you would be, you know what I'm saying, a superhero or whatever. And they was asking me what I think Prodigy's strengths would be. And I just kind of gave them that. Like, everybody wanted to fly and be like Superman or have some kind of secret power, you know what I mean? So I don't think it added towards like any kind of myth, but more along the lines of like, if you had superpowers, which one would you pick?
Gotcha. I thought it was going to lean into like all of the old, like the hip hop stories that we hear that we don't ever get real answers to.
That's a good angle. I like that. Might have to put Mass Appeal up and start, you know what I mean? Revamp some of their ideas.
With the rollout right now that you're doing, because a lot of those conversations are coming back up, people are learning it for the first time. How different is it for you now promoting your music and having these conversations with social media versus, not even the last album, but like early on days when y'all were running around?
I mean, it's way different because now, back in them days, we didn't have no social media. We didn't have none of that. So, the things that we doing now, like hitting mad podcasts up and things of that nature, is like, it feels kind of different, but it's the work that you put in when you put out a project. You know what I'm saying? I love doing it. I love this time. You know what I mean? I get to really, show what Mobb Deep is all about.
Mm-hmm. What artists came to you for a beat and you turned them down and then you kind of went back and like, damn, I should have did that beat? Was there any one of those artists?
Damn. I don't think so. I don't think so. You know, when I do work with an artist, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'm feeling them. You know what I mean? But if I didn't want to work with an artist, they definitely didn't hear back from me. You know what I'm saying?
And what beat did you give away you wish you didn't give away and you would have kept to yourself?
Nah, or every track that I gave away, I was fine with. You know what I mean? I don't think I gave away anything.
Now, I always like to ask, because these are my 2 favorite beats, my 2 favorite hip-hop beats. I want you to break down when you created Shook Ones and when you created Quiet Storm.
Right.
And whose choice was it to put, of every artist out there, why Little Kim? So let's start off with breaking down Shook Ones. So where were you when you made Shook Ones, and did you know that was going to be what it was?
Shook Ones. I made that in Queensbridge in my mom's apartment where I grew up at, right? Dirty records all over the floor, scratch, pop, vinyl. Didn't even really know what I was doing. Then the crew came in the crib, Prodigy, all of them. They said, hey, what's this? I was like, oh, it's whatever. I'm about to turn the computer, the drum machine off. No, don't turn it off. Keep it. Kept it. We did a song to it. Actually, we had the Shook Ones Part 2, and then Part 1, and then this became Part 2, and it took off. Had no idea it was going to do that. Quiet Storm, I ran out of samples. You know what I mean? I ran out of anything to sample, so I'm just looking at this Sugar Hill Gang record like, damn, let me just try you for now. Because that's a record that I always pass. Like, White Lines and all of that. Mm-hmm. Nobody's not putting that on. You know what I mean? So put that on. Sampled it. I said, let me slow it down maybe. Like, slow it down, throw some rim shots to it. And just did it. Didn't think nothing of it. Prodigy used to come to my house. Go in the basement to the studio while I'm asleep. And then when I went down, he's like, yo, Hav, what's this? I was like, it's whatever. It wasn't nothing. And he did a whole solo song to it. And then we ended up making it the first single on, I believe, it was Murder Music. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of a little upset by then because Chris Lighty, God bless the day, he was like, yo, we making this the first single. I'm like, yo.
I'm not on it.
You know what I'm saying? He was like, but you made the beat. And I think that was the time when now everybody's just looking at me as a producer and not even a rapper. So that's another story, you know what I mean, that I'm getting looked at just as a producer when I just be trying to write my life away on the paper, but it's all good.
And then how did y'all what was the decision to put Little Kim? Why Little Kim? Of all the female MCs at that time, why Kim?
I mean, come on, Envy, you know what time it is. We go in the club right now, Mobb Deep's in the club. It's a sausage fest. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we like, yo, we need to get the chicks involved. Who we could get? Little Kim. And she agreed to do it. I went to the studio, I seen her in there writing her verse. She sung my hook over. I'm telling you, that record took off. Like, you couldn't. It
was genius. It was to the day where you could put out a street record and it could be a single. And to this day, it's one of Kim's biggest verses. It just connects. Hot damn hole, here we go again.
And she got the dance that she do.
To this day. To this day.
To this day.
Yeah, I was thinking about, you mentioned like going in the club and like using that and bringing that back into the music. Maybe some artists do that now, but I think a lot of artists are geared toward like TikTok and numbers and research because the industry has changed.
Right.
Envy always talks about how lit the club scene in New York was and all the artists and all the things. Like,
I always tell her that everybody used to be outside. When we was clubbing, like, there were no, I would say, rich or broke. It was the dude from the block on the left side,
right?
Mobb Deep on the right, Hove in this corner, Kim and them on this side. You would see Nas was always in a cut by himself somehow, some way, wiggling in and out. You would see the Lost Boys. You would just see so many. You would see everybody in the club, and you would see how music reacts. And like you said, it wouldn't matter. You play the Gangsters record, girls is rapping, dudes is rapping. And we would go from club to club, night to night, and it was just a feeling in New York. I always tell about that. You just could never change. It was just something about that.
It was an amazing time. You know what I mean? Like when street records you was able to dance to it. You didn't have to make a radio record. You know what I mean? But once your record took off in the clubs, you was kind of like pretty much out of there. I think the clubs dictated hits.
Which is not as much anymore. And I know you got the tour that you're going on with Raekwon.
Yep, we got that, the 30th anniversary of the Cuban Links and the infamous album. We're going to do the U.S., about like 18 dates or whatever. And that's dope. actually got rehearsal with Raekwon later on today. You know what I mean? Because we taking it serious. Like, you know, we some OGs, you know, shit, got to do our 2 steps, make sure we good.
I wanted to know, too, when you signed with 50, when y'all did the deal with 50, break that down and why y'all decided to sign that deal and where were y'all at that point as far as Mobb Deep to go?
I mean, if you get offered some Ferraris, you not going to sign a deal?
Absolutely.
But, 50 called me. We was free agents at that point. I think we had been on Jive.
Yep.
We sold 150,000 records the first week. That wasn't good enough for Jive. Today, I mean, that's like probably platinum or something like that. You know what I mean? But it was
happy with 30,000 now.
Exactly. So I guess we was ahead of our time, or not, whatever it is. But 50 called me. And I had already worked with 50 like maybe a year before that. Before he was bubbling on the mixtapes.
Yep, I remember.
And he was one of my favorite artists. You know what I'm saying? We did Bump That and Clap Those Things or whatever. And that was supposed to be for my solo album. Loud Folded, never came out. And then the next thing you know, a year later, somebody named 50 Cent is just going, bubbling, right? So we kept that relationship going. And by the time we became free agents, he gave me a call, said, I want to sign y'all. He swept us up into the G-Unit umbrella, went on tour, and the rest was history.
How come you never signed more artists? Because you were the producer, you were the artist. How come you did? Because you could have, I'm sure, signed 50 early on. Besides Big Noy, who did y'all?
True. You know what it is? I guess I haven't ever found the artist that I truly like, I just don't want to sign somebody just to sign somebody. Like, I guess my bar is high. You know, I really want to sign that artist. Now, there's an artist that I did want to sign that she wasn't signed at the time. It was Jazmine Sullivan. She just came in to like write, because back then I was like getting people to throw reference vocals, and I was working with Stevie J. And he knew her and got her to the studio. And I was like, God damn. I was like, yo, she's nice. You know what I mean? But she's one of those artists that you know is going to get a major record deal and get signed. You got to come with the business if you want to sign a Jazmine Sullivan.
Correct.
But for instance, like, I don't run across artists like that all the time. And those are the artists that I really want to, you know what I mean? And they few and far between.
So you didn't sign her only because the deal situation wasn't going to be what you thought it should be? Or like, how did that not move forward?
I wasn't ready. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. But, you know, female artists is like high maintenance. You know what I'm saying? It come with a lot. You know what I'm saying? Not to, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, because you got glam and branding, and they get it. And I will say, although Jazmine Sullivan,
T-shirt and jeans, that's it.
No, our T-shirt and jeans is a little different. But Jazmine Sullivan is one of the best singers, period, in the game, right? But I feel like it took people so long. It was hotels for me when people even started recognizing her the way that they should have. And she had been working for so long before that. So I'm sure a lot of money was poured into that.
Absolutely.
So I understand what you're saying, but y'all didn't even have a conversation in an attempt to see like what she would say to your offer?
I had the conversation in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish that I, you know, because I was just, you know, I was in my own way. You know what I mean? But the artist in me wanted her to shine. You know what I mean? And not even, you know, try to get in her way. But, you know, that's what it is. Like, I never come across artists of that caliber. It's really hard, right? Like, you know, so that's why.
I want to go back to the 50 Cent signing y'all conversation. I know when you guys signed with 50 and dropped music, a lot of the fans weren't happy about that.
Yeah, because you know why? I always say it like this. Fans are like your parents, right? They never want to see the kids grow, right? Oh, I want you to stay, my baby. Please don't get older. And that's what artists are to the supporters and fans, right? They never want to see them go outside the box or grow or a little bit commercial, right? Because it just ruin, you know, that relationship that they have. And I believe that our fans, right? Because it probably was a mix of the audiences together. Like, on one hand, 50 is grimy, right? Like, he got the streets on lock, but then he went super commercial, right? And sometimes, you know, the streets, they kind of resent that commercialness, you know what I'm saying, of an artist going that big, because they just want that foundational music. And they probably was scared that once we signed the G-Unit that we was probably going to become this commercial group, but it couldn't have been further from the truth.
Because the point of y'all signing that deal was you wanted that expansion of the brand and the business. Do you feel like at that point y'all make it, because when you released from the contract, there was no more business with 50 after, right?
No.
And was that because of the way that the fans reacted, or?
No. It wasn't because of that. I think it was a lot of different factors surrounding that whole G-Unit Interscope thing. You know, I think 50 was getting pushed back at Interscope regardless of anything, because he was just so, you know, strong-minded. You know what I mean? And at that time, it's like, okay, we sold this amount of records. All right, go ahead, do what y'all need to do. Because 50 was fighting really hard to push us, and he was getting a lot of pushback. Like MTV wasn't having it. You know what I mean? They was like, play what? Mobb Deep with. You know what I'm saying? And he would just sneak us on TRL with him. You know what I mean? Like, come on. You know what I mean? They didn't want us there.
Why not?
Because we don't fit into
the genre of music y'all were in?
Yeah, we from the streets,
right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They like, they gatekeeping a little bit up there. They like, nah, we good. You know what I'm saying? Give us somebody else.
Mm. Do you feel like, because I asked the question to get here, do you feel like because of the box, I guess, that the fans kind of put you guys in, it hurt Mobb Deep as a business? Looking back then to where things are now.
Man, it's different ways to look at that. I would say no, right? Because staying true to your fan base is cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't really want to do nothing outside of that. Like, I'm not trying to make no pop records with like Christina Aguilera and all of that stuff. I mean, you know what I mean? Because it's not who I am. Now the music just becomes fake. You understand? But if I was of that, then sure, we'll make it. Like, certain artists was able to do that, but that wasn't Mobb Deep. Now, and if we was going to go that direction, we should have started that early on. But that wasn't Mobb Deep. We started grassroots from the bottom, like,
I do got a question. You produced for B.I.G., 50, Nas, Meth, Kanye West, Eminem, LL, Mariah, just to name a few. Who was your favorite to work with besides Prodigy? Who was your favorite to work with production, and why?
My favorite artist to work with that I produced for, I would have to say, probably was like Jadakiss.
Why?
Or Little Kim. Because those are artists that I really respect and revere. I mean, like, Jadakiss is like one of the best lyricists out there.
Absolutely.
So, like, to work with him, it's a pleasure because he complements your beat so well. You could give him a trash beat and he'll make it sound good. You understand what I'm saying? So it's really a pleasure because he he's kind of humble when it comes to being in the studio and the artist. He wanted the producer to take him in that direction.
Now he's very humble. And now with production, what was your favorite beat to produce?
Why? You know what I'm saying? By Jadakiss. Because I just, it wasn't really too much of a big deal for me when I made the beat. I mean, the beat's don't got crazy bells and whistles, but as you can see, it's minimum production, but he just turns it into this whole big production. You know what I mean? With Anthony Hamilton, then he's questioning, going why this, why that. At the times when we got a lot of questions, so I love doing that for him.
Also wanted to ask, right? Besides why, what was the most difficult track to get cleared?
To get cleared. The most difficult track to get cleared probably was we did a Prince sample one time.
Did he clear it?
Hell no.
I was gonna say, because he ain't clearing nothing.
So you had to send it to Prince.
Yeah. We sent it, and he was like, hell no. I was in the studio with you and everything, but little bro, we ain't cleared that.
You was in the studio with Prince?
Yeah. It was me.
Explain the studio. Havoc and Prodigy was in the studio with Prince?
And Snoop was there too.
Explain that. How Prince?
Snoop made the post.
So what happened?
So I was in the studio one time. Electric Lady.
Lady.
I think he even owned the studio at one point. It's right there on West 4th Street or whatever it was.
Yep.
So I'm in there. We working on the album. I forget what album it was. And one of my homeboys that I used to just have driving me around was like, yo, Prince is outside. I'm like, man, get the F out of here. You crazy? You bugging. Yo, Prince walked in my session, yo. Like,
he had leather pants on?
He didn't have leather pants on, but he was like my height and I'm short. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, but his presence is just like crazy. And he started helping me with the keys and playing on the keys and then just whisked away and just left. Didn't even get a picture with him. No, nothing. Back then, I don't even think the phones was ready for pictures then.
Nah.
You know what I mean? But that was my Prince story.
So what was the beat? So y'all actually made
it was some song that ended up, I think, on Snoop Project. Thou Shall Not Kill. Yeah. I forgot where it ended up at, but it was Snoop on the record, Prince on the keys, and we just rapping. And you wouldn't even be able to tell that Prince played any keys on it because it was just really simple. But the fact that he did, you know what I'm saying, is something that I definitely would never forget.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Godfather Part 3.
Well, that was a hard sample to clear too. That definitely.
So how did you? Because that was Mobb movie.
I mean, that's Steve Rifkin magic. You know what I'm saying? Steve Rifkin, he know how to do business and clear some samples. So we definitely cleared that.
I saw a report that song actually wasn't that on the infamous archives, but you guys didn't approve it.
Maybe it was. It's so long ago, I don't even remember. But you probably right. You know what I mean? So fuzzy.
Y'all got some memories.
No,
man.
you got so many memories.
Yeah.
I want to say, do you get paid every time I see one of these stores sell the infamous Mobb Deep shirts? Do y'all get paid over that?
Well, if it's official merch, yes. But I combat infringement every day, yo. I mean, and it looks so good. It's so real. Like, I want to buy it.
I don't know if I should support it or not. Because I be seeing these stores, I be like, yo, that's hard.
I'm like, wow. And, sometimes I go to shows and they be having on this merch that I know Mobb Deep didn't sanction.
Right.
I don't want to say nothing to them. But if we having problems, imagine Wu-Tang. It's the most known. So these are things that we got to combat every day that people don't even understand. Like, they say, oh, it's so easy to be an artist and y'all just sit back here and go to shows. Nah, there's a business aspect where you got to protect the trademark.
Right.
It's serious.
What's the fight? I mean, it is very serious, especially because y'all have so many years of so much history and y'all fans span across so many age ranges. What's the fight like right now, though? Like, are there certain stores or people, like, where are you even aiming to? Because y'all stuff is everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, look, we do license deals with certain brands, whether it be, whoever, like Supreme or things, and that's another story. You know what I mean? We had a horrible time over there that something happened and they used the image and we got sued. It was like crazy. But those are things that you have to kind of watch out for. But we license out the brand sometimes, you know what I mean? But more than not, infringement is rampant.
So with Supreme, y'all used a picture that y'all didn't take, and then the photographer came back and was like,
it was the dragon image, right?
No, it was the dragon image. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of forgot about it because I got the tattoo. So I'm not even really thinking about it. I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, they had used the image in some group. I'm not going to say their name. Said, oh, that's out. And nobody knows them. They probably got, like, no lie, 200 followers on Instagram. Nobody knows them. You know what I'm saying? But they took advantage of an opportunity. It is a federally trademarked image. You know what I'm saying? They got the rights. And they told us back in the 90s, say, hey, stop. And then I forgot.
You forgot?
Supreme was like, yo, is this yours? I was like, oh, yeah. But, the lawyers was like, okay, we're going to check it. Right? That's the lawyer's job. Right. They didn't check it. The lawyer said, like, I'm going to check it. Right. You understand what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, cool. Okay, go check it. I'm making beats. Like, you know what I mean? Go ahead. But you got to really be diligent because getting sued is not fun. It's not funny. It costs a lot of money. You have to answer it. And we settled, of course. And it's just you giving away free money.
Right.
You understand? Hard-working money. So.
And I meant to ask, with all the stuff that you produced and all of the records that you've done, do you get all your money from that stuff? Because you hear a lot of times that when artists do something, they don't get their money, somebody else gets the money. Do you get all your money from that?
I was fortunate enough to do a publishing deal early that was super fair, right? I didn't sign away all my publishing. And I'm down with people that collect diligently, you know what I'm saying, things. But, of course, there's going to be corners, pockets in the world where you're not collecting. And then new forms pop up. They like, oh, yeah, back in the days, y'all didn't know that this was over here. And y'all could collect the bag. And there's a bag sitting over there.
Right.
Like, overseas somewhere for whatever it is. But for the most part, we get our bread, like for real. You know what I mean? I hear horror stories and I feel bad for artists and whoever took advantage of them. You know what I'm saying? They need to be, it's a special place for them.
I was going to ask, what's the biggest bag you ever missed out on? Because just business wise, you didn't plan for that.
The biggest bag I missed out on was for a Super Bowl commercial. They wanted to use the Mobb Deep music in the Super Bowl commercial. And for whatever reason, a lawyer took too long and we missed out on the opportunity. So yeah, that hurt. Still hurt.
So you're doing this album as a passion project because obviously you don't need the money if you're still getting paid like you are.
I ain't say that.
Infinite is out this Friday, and we appreciate you for joining us, man. I love these stories, and I just love to see the growth because I was a kid in Queens, and I watched what y'all did, and we admired that. You know what I mean? From the driving the cars, the shooting the shook ones video to all that, we got a chance to see it. So the fact that You're still heavy and you're still doing it, man. We appreciate you, brother.
And this is we got a date for the Method Man COVID album.
Oh yeah, the Method Man COVID. We don't have a date, but me and him are actively in the studio. And he tried to put me in the headlock. I didn't let him, but he said we got to finish this album.
Yeah, y'all
and we're
been
gonna
actively
finish it
for a couple months. We waiting for a date, but okay.
I know. We'll have one soon though.
Thanks for joining us though.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Album comes out this Friday. It's Havoc. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Hold up. Every day I wake up. Wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?